The air in the abandoned Gotham warehouse hung heavy, thick with the scent of ozone and the lingering metallic tang of conflict. Batman stood before him, not just a conqueror, but a captive audience. The figure slumped in the makeshift chair wasn't merely a Joker. He was the Joker. The comedian, they called him, the most sadistic, the most unnerving of the three. His face, a canvas of permanent mirth, seemed to mock the very concept of peace. Batman had peeled back the layers, piece by painstaking piece, to reveal what he believed was the ultimate truth. This was the original, the failed comedian, the one who had walked that one bad day road and emerged as the nightmare of Gotham. But the true revelation, the one that splintered the very bedrock of Batman's understanding, wasn't the Joker's identity. It was his confession. A confession whispered with an almost tender reverence, a dark secret offered up like a warped sacrament. The comedian looked at Batman, not with malice, but with something unsettlingly akin to devotion. He spoke of Joe Chill, that name, a phantom limb of pain for Batman, the ghost of an alleyway, of pearls scattering on grimy pavement. The Joker began to explain his meticulous, horrifying plan. For years, the prevailing theory, even among the most brilliant minds, was that the Joker's grand scheme involving Joe Chill was to create another Joker, to replicate the catalyst, to produce more chaos, to deepen Batman's torment by expanding his rogues gallery with a mirror image of his own origin. But that, the Joker revealed, was a grotesque misdirection, a red herring painted in the darkest shades of despair. His ultimate goal, he confessed, was never to create a new Joker. No. His ultimate goal was to ensure Batman saved Joe Chill. Let that sink in for a moment. The architect of Batman's greatest psychological torture, the embodiment of his every fear, wanted Batman to rescue the very man who murdered his parents. Why? The Joker believed that if Batman could finally, truly, and unequivocally forgive his parents' murderer, it would heal that foundational trauma. It would excise the root of his original pain, the wound that had birthed the bat itself. Imagine Batman's mind reeling, the world tilting on its axis. For decades, he had battled this entity, convinced he was the chaos to Batman's order, the antithesis. But now, this chilling whisper suggested a different truth. If Joe Chill was no longer a source of pain, if that primal scream of grief was finally silenced within Batman's soul, then only one source of pain would remain: the Joker himself. He would become the sole, undisputed architect of all Batman's future suffering. He would be the single, exquisite wound that never healed, the only shadow that danced with Batman's light. It was an act of twisted, obsessive love, not a love born of affection or kindness, but a monstrous devotion, a possessive desire to be everything to Batman, even if everything meant everything painful. The Joker wasn't merely a nemesis, he was seeking to be the only nemesis. He wanted exclusivity. He wanted to ensure that no other ghost, no other tragedy, no other wound could ever compete with him for Batman's internal landscape. He needed to be Batman's one, true, and eternal tormentor. The grand design wasn't to amplify chaos, but to refine it, to distill it down to a single, potent, unyielding source: himself.
The implications were staggering. For Batman, it wasn't just another layer to the Joker's madness, it was a perversion of their very dynamic. It meant that the Joker's every twisted act, every horrifying joke, every life taken was not just for the sake of chaos, but to solidify his position as the singular, indispensable source of Batman's pain. It was a declaration of ownership over Batman's suffering, a perverse claim to his emotional core. In that moment, the Joker wasn't just revealing a plan, he was revealing his heart, albeit a black, withered, and terrifying one. He wasn't trying to defeat Batman in the traditional sense. He was trying to monopolize his pain. He was trying to ensure that every time Batman felt agony, every time he questioned his resolve, every time he stood in the shadow of despair, the source would always, inescapably, be him. No lingering childhood trauma, no old wounds, just the Joker. Omnipresent, omnipotent, the ultimate chosen pain. This revelation forces us to look at the One Bad Day origin not as a random event that created the Joker, but as a carefully curated narrative, spun by a mind obsessed with its own unique role in Batman's life. The comedian, the failed comedian, didn't just want to be an agent of chaos. He wanted to be the source of all meaning, however dark, in Batman's existence. He believed that if he could cleanse Batman of his primary wound, the door would be open for him to inflict all subsequent ones, making their dance eternal and utterly singular. So, in the chilling finale of the Three Joker saga, the twist wasn't just the identity of the original Joker, but the unsettling depth of his motivation. It was a love story, in the most profoundly disturbing sense of the word. A love so possessive, so consuming, that it sought to eliminate all competition, even the ghosts of a forgotten alleyway, to ensure that he, and only he, would forever be Batman's one true nemesis, the man who wanted to be Batman's everything by being his every pain. What do you make of this twisted revelation? Does it deepen the Joker's character for you, or make him even more terrifying? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this journey through the shadowed corners of Gotham's greatest rivalry resonated with you, consider subscribing or following for more deep dives into the stories that shape our favorite heroes and villains. Until next time, keep exploring the narratives that make us think.